Hi, this is Miss Key, and this is my review of 1000 Pound Best Friend Season 1, Episode 3 We're Not a Joke. So, the episode first starts with Megan, Vanessa, Tina, and Ashley driving to go do some exercise. And they're talking in the van, and they're talking about Vanessa and Megan's visit to the therapist. And Vanessa said that it's hard to trust a skinny therapist. So pretty much back what she was talking about before, how she doesn't really trust people who haven't been through the same things that she has been through. But she seems to realize now, because she did like the therapist, that the therapist could actually be of help to her, even though she's not dealing with a weight problem. And then actually, she doesn't know the lady could have had a weight problem in the past. She doesn't know that. But at any rate, um, they also talk about Vanessa, that she's thinking about moving away from her sister because her sister is continuing to sabotage her diet. And Vanessa really wants to take her diet seriously now, especially after going to Dr. Proctor last episode and finding out not only did she gain, the weight back that she had previously lost, but that her son weighs even more than her. So she's really motivated now to lose some weight. Tina, she found a place for them to go. It is an exercise place to where you're using bungee cords to exercise. I've never heard of bungee exercising before, but it looked fun actually. The instructor said that it's a low impact workout that takes the weight off your joints. So they were doing exercises that they likely wouldn't be able to do without the bungee cord taking some of the weight off. So they were doing squats and different things like that, like a Superman move. And it looked like they were having fun. They started to get tired and they were being silly. It looked like a lot of fun. So that was good. And they were making jokes, talking about, it could help them in the bedroom and things like that. But anyway, they were also like doing jumping jacks. So it looked like a really good workout. Um, Ashley, she mentioned that the workout made her realize just pretty much how out of shape that she is. So she was really concerned that she wasn't able to do more. And I was really looking at all of them having fun and everything. And I really hope that they're able to lose weight. Losing weight is very hard. But I hope they're able to do it. So Tina, she mentions that she struggled with her weight her entire life, but she's not a fan of surgery. Her friends keep trying to convince her to just go and talk to Dr. Proctor, but she's not having it. She said that it's really not worth the risk of possibly something happening and her not being here for her family to go through the surgery. So she really wants to do it on her own. Ashley, she's hesitant about going to see Dr. Proctor because she's had the surgery in the past, the gastric sleeve, and she really just doesn't want to face her failure. She says she had the sleeve done and she lost about 65 pounds, but then she gained all of it back and more. So then in the next scene, they show Tina's house, and she really has a nice house. And they show Megan at the house because Megan lives with Tina. And so she calls Vanessa, and they're talking about, her living situation. And she's really just pretty much trying to convince her to think about herself and do something else with her living situation because her sister is bringing all types of bad food in and she's not able to resist it. And she's letting her know that, you need to do something for you. Vanessa is hesitant because she has lived with her sister her entire life and she's scared to live apart from her sister. So she says she's thinking about it. Megan has the idea of having a girls' getaway. And Vanessa likes the idea. She said it'll give her a chance to clear her mind and focus on her diet. Um, and they asked the other women. So Ashley, she's really not into the camping thing, but she ends up going. And then Vanessa saying some inappropriate things about wieners and things like that. And Tina, she says that Vanessa always says things to make her blush, but Vanessa's like, well, she doesn't really understand how Tina's being prudish because she has 4 kids. So clearly, she's not a stranger to sex. So basically, but Vanessa likes being inappropriate. So in the next scene, um, it shows Ashley going to Dr. Proctor's office. She mentions that the bungee exercise really was a reality check for her. So she wants to go see Dr. Proctor and maybe start again. She says it's really hard to admit her failure because she's had the gastric sleeve, but she's going to have to start all over again because she gained all the weight back. She says she's 36 years old and she struggled with her weight her whole life. Um, and at one point, she's talking to Vanessa in this scene, and I thought Vanessa was being a real good friend. She was encouraging Ashley and saying, "Hey, we've all failed at things. You're not the only one. You've grown older and you're ready this time." So I really like how Vanessa was building Ashley up in this moment. Ashley mentioned that by the time she was in her 20s, she was over 300 pounds. Um, and then she said she lost about 65 to 80 pounds actually with the gastric sleeve. And then, of course, she gained it all back. So she's just talking to Vanessa and she's on her way to Dr. Proctor's. Um, and I just put a note to myself in my notes that I really like the way Ashley is very put together. It looks like her makeup is really, really pretty. I like the way she keeps herself together. But Ashley mentions also that, she was having all the success and she was losing weight with the gastric sleeve, but then she was wanting the sleeve to do all of the work, and then she didn't really keep the lifestyle changes that she was supposed to do in order to keep it going. Um, and I've seen from different weight loss shows that it's not a quick fix. You have to do your part. And actually, with just losing weight in general, you have to do your part. You have to keep it up. And it's hard to lose. And I think it's harder even to maintain. Um, but anyway, she goes and she sees Dr. Proctor and she talks with him about, her past. And then she gets weighed. So her weight is 378 pounds, 378.4 pounds. And she said that's the highest that she's ever been. And she talks with Dr. Proctor about, the risks of getting surgery again because it is risky in and of itself. And Dr. Proctor tells her that it's even riskier a second time. And he says, really, the second time he would go with the gastric bypass. He says it's an increased risk, but Ashley says, due to her family history of diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea, which can all be fatal, she feels like it's worth the risk. So, um, Dr. Proctor tells her, hey, lose 30 pounds in 2 months and then come back and we can talk about getting the surgery again. And I was thinking in this moment, wow, that's way less than when I watched 600 Pound Life, where Dr. Now he asked people to lose 50 pounds in a month, 100 pounds in 2 months, that type of stuff. So 30 pounds in 2 months, that's a lot actually for anybody, but it's way more reasonable than Dr. Now. But also Dr. Now deals with people who are larger than Ashley. So then next, the girls are going on their camping trip. Um, and Vanessa says while they're in the car that Tina is starting in with her already because she says something inappropriate. And no, actually, she yells. And Tina says she's going to duct tape her mouth if she yells like that again. And Vanessa says she wants Tina not to be so reserved. I think that, Vanessa, says inappropriate things and she just says what comes to her mind. That's her, and that's fine. Everybody's grown. But I think she should also accept, like, well, Tina's different. Just like she's different, I think that they should accept each other's differences. Vanessa says inappropriate things. Seems like she's been doing that. And Tina, she doesn't, and she doesn't like doing it. So I just think they need to just accept that, piece of the puzzle from one another. But anyway, during their ride on their girls' trip, Ashley talks about her visit with Dr. Proctor. Um, And Tina just says she just doesn't want to be pressured to go to Dr. Proctor. She doesn't want the trip to turn into that. So next, they get to the lake, and it looks real pretty out there. And you see their living quarters. It's not the typical camping, like with the tents that you have to put together yourself and things like that. It's really like a very large tent. It has looks like queen size beds in there. They have air conditioning. I said I'm not really a camping person because I don't like bugs. But if I were to go camping, that would be more my speed. Something with some beds, something with some air conditioning. They had regular bathrooms on the premises. I could probably do that overnight. That's about it. I'm not really into the bugs, so I'm just really wouldn't be a camping person. Maybe if it was in a cabin or something like that, but that would be more my speed if I were to go camping. I definitely wouldn't want to do the traditional, camping scene and things like that. Roasting marshmallows, that doesn't appeal to me at all. But anyway, so they're just walking, and Vanessa's trying to sit down. She said her back gave out, and Megan's like, well, I'm not sure if this camping trip was the best idea because getting around and moving around is a little more challenging, for them, being as large as they are. Vanessa's talking vulgar. They're eating some snacks, and Megan tried to get some healthy snacks, and Vanessa's just saying inappropriate stuff. Talking about the snacks remind her of this and that. And Tina, she's not into the comments, so I think it's getting on her nerves. So they're talking again about moving. They're trying to build Vanessa up and let her know that she really needs to think about herself, rather than worried about how her sister's going to feel about her leaving. I wonder though if she can afford to move out. It doesn't seem like she's in the best financial situation. So I wonder if her living with her sister is helping the both of them out. Having whatever type of money they have coming into the house, if it helps the both of them. So I wonder about that. But I do understand, if her sister's just not respecting the boundaries, then she does have to think of something else. I was actually thinking, well, I wonder why her and Megan wouldn't live together, because Megan's living with Tina, and Megan is really on this, she's really pushing Vanessa to move. I was like, well, maybe y'all can move together since y'all both living with other people. But anyway, so it starts raining, and they said that really ruined their idea of having like a bonfire. So they decide to, play some games. Vanessa talks about how, when she was little, her mom would have them, strip down and play in the rain, because she didn't want them to get their clothes dirty. And she said the rain just made her want to do that. But they also, in this moment, start talking about pretty much sex. And Megan says that although she's lost a great deal of weight since she had her surgery, she's not comfortable with her body. And she said that, her sex life with her husband, I don't know if that's her husband or her boyfriend, but she said that the sex life is has declined because she's just not comfortable. She said she looks at herself and thinks, ugh. And she said, if I feel that way, how can he not feel that way? Um, so she talks about her back fat and loose skin, which the loose skin is normal. When you lose that much weight, as she has, I think she's lost over 200 pounds so far. But I really like the way her friends built her up in this moment. I like the way they build each other up. Megan actually got emotional and she started, crying. She says she feels like a monster. And her friends were just like, no, you've never been that. You're beautiful. And I thought that that was really nice. So, Tina said that the girls, talking about, their surgeries or their aspiration for surgery has inspired her to be more serious about her weight loss, but she's still not interested in doing the weight loss surgery. She says she wants to do it on her own. She has done it on her own in the past, and she wants to prove it to them that she can do it without the surgery. Um, and Vanessa says that she wants to look into some properties when she gets back home. So she's deciding that, she wants to move away from her sister. It's just not working out as far as her trying to diet and her sister sabotaging her. So she says she hasn't felt this free in a very long time. This trip has really, refreshed her, and she feels like she's having a rebirth. Now, Megan, Vanessa, no, not Megan and Vanessa, Megan, Tina, and Ashley, they're just like, oh, we just want to look at, the property or whatever, the lake, before we head out because it's the next day. And they're, had a good night's sleep and everything. And so they just want to look at the property before they head out. But it's still raining. So they're just peeking out the tent. And so here comes Vanessa. She decides to, strip down, and she comes outside butt naked, and she just takes a little whirl around, not far. She takes a little whirl around, and she's like, "I'm naked, I'm naked." And Tina looks horrified. The other girls are like, "Oh my gosh, like what is happening right now?" And Tina said, she felt like um, Vanessa was making a fool out of them. I don't really see how Vanessa getting naked and on her own and coming out, running around on in and of her own will is making a fool out of them. She might be making a fool out of herself, but I really didn't see how she was making a fool out of them. But Tina says she feels like people already have a view of people who are overweight, and she felt like Vanessa doing that, wasn't a good look for all of them. I felt like it just wasn't a good look for her. Um, Me personally, I wouldn't have taken it as seriously as Tina seemed to take it, but that was her opinion. So Tina and Vanessa, they're going back and forth, and Vanessa's yelling all crazy. Vanessa definitely has a temper. When you rub her the wrong way, she has a temper. So she's like, I feel like you judging me. I feel like you better than me. And Tina's like, you're making a fool out of us, and da 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 da. So Vanessa was like, if I want to come out butt naked, I can. She was like, you ain't my mama. And I really have to agree with Vanessa on that. It's like, hey, if that's what she wants to do, that's on her. I wouldn't have took it like she making a fool out of me. I might have taken it as, man, she making a fool out of herself. But if that's what she want to do, we all grown. Hey, but Tina was taking it as she was perpetuating stereotypes. So Megan was trying to diffuse the situation, say, hey, she has her view, you have your view. But Vanessa wasn't hearing it. She was like, y'all judging me, and you just trying to take up for your friend. And I was just like, this is a mess. I think everybody was tired. It just comes to a point when you're in a group of people, everybody gets tired, and it's just time to go. It was time to wrap it up, pretty much. Um, and by the end of the episode, Megan felt like she's not sure if Tina and Vanessa can overcome this argument that they've had. So that was the end of the episode. I felt like it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I really like how these friends, aside from the argument that Tina and Vanessa is having, I like the way that they build each other up. I really think that that shows good friendship. I think this rift between Tina and Vanessa, I think that they can get over it. I just think that they two different people, who see things differently. Vanessa likes to say whatever. Apparently, she likes to do whatever. And Tina is just not that way. And I think they both need to accept each other for who they are. Um, Me personally, I don't think that in that moment Tina was making a fool out of I mean, not Tina, Vanessa, when she came out naked. I don't think she was making a fool out of anybody but herself. In that moment, I probably been like, Oh my goodness, what in the world? Girl, if you don't put some clothes on. But I don't think I would have felt like she was making a fool out of me at all. So that piece, to each his own. But I like the show. It's good. I like the way that they are friends towards each other. I hope that Vanessa and Tina can get it together. Um, so that was my review of £1,000 Best Friends, Season 1, Episode 3. This is Miss Key. See you next time.